told that you have to widen the road, and put them into a panic. They found out that to widen the road was going to be a minimum of $170,000, and depending on how far it went, it could even get to $310,000. Those were 2018 numbers, by the way, I believe. So anyway, this particular couple came and asked what could be done, and I said, I need to discuss this with the commission because there were particular decisions that were made prior to just about all of us. That said, this particular family with children have been living out of a mobile home at Cowboy RV Trailer Park for the last 4 years, and basically came to my office pleading, what can we do? And there are a few things that I think that we could do, but do you have any direction based upon the past? The road section is basically there. In my opinion, it needs to just be graded. It's your typical county road that becomes a single track because everybody drives down the middle and then the weeds grow up along the edges. There are some particular spots that should be improved. That said, attached, this family reached out to all of the adjoining neighbors, and I attached those letters, and every person that's there basically said they would not be willing to participate in the costs of widening the road.
So I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
We say county road. Is it a county road or is it a private driveway?
It's a private drive.
So what is the building standard for subbase compaction gravel? What constitutes a private driveway?
Under...
Just for a road standard. If I want to have a private driveway and I want to go in with my D5 dozer and just cut a dirt path, does that count as a driveway?
Well, there's a number of factors.
Am I required to have gravel? Am I required to have asphalt? Am I required to have any of that? What am I required to have?
All-weather surface.
Okay, so what is an all-weather surface?
Compacted gravel.
Okay, so to what standard and what kind of material? Native material, or do we have to haul in with a compaction rate, or what are we going at?
We don't make any reference to that, Commissioner.
So if somebody was to go in there with a grader, by the way, I have Metal Arc Lane pulled up on my Google Earth, and I'm measuring sections of it. And actually, there's sections of this road that are over 20 feet wide. There's several sections, actually. So if somebody was to go in with a grader and scrape it and achieve compaction by driving over it, does that meet an all-weather surface?
I don't like these gotcha questions.
I know. But guess what? We're not in a court of law. I mean, this is what. But this is what we're asking, though. This is what we're talking about, is because we're trying to interpret what this driveway ordinance is, and to the very strict letter of the law, you're going to require somebody to go in there and cut, grade, bring in cleaned gravel that would meet a compaction rate of 95% or greater, or 90% or greater, whatever, 85%, whatever number you want to bring, or do it. Or are we talking about making a native road of native materials, which is present, which most of these, I can almost guarantee what you just said, most of the gravel is probably in the burrow pits on the sides of it, or the slit ditches that they've used to control remediation, and they probably just need to get a grader in there, grade everything back, and go spray the weeds, and you're done. I don't think that requiring them to put $190,000 in to rebuild a road, I don't think that was what the intent of the ordinance was.
I have been on site, and for the majority of the road, you could just about, in my opinion, you could just about accommodate the road standard if that task was to take place. There are some areas that do neck down to about 16 feet.
The other question is, why 150 feet? I already know the reason, but I'm asking just for public reasons.
You have to be within 150 feet of a structure for the fire code.
So the fire code to be able to make turnaround, does not have a section of code further than 150 feet of road because they don't want an apparatus to get down there and have to back out, right?
That is correct.
How many of those sections of road are longer than 150 feet without a turnaround in it right now?
Just about every one of them, unless you use the existing drives as a turnaround.
The drives would count as a turnaround because in an emergency, you're going to turn around wherever you can turn around. I sat here and I just measured.
So
I didn't have, I think there's one section that may, yeah, there's one section that's going to have it. And other than that road, there's a turnout about every
Commissioner
150
Tuvey, by definition, that private drive becomes the emergency vehicle access road. They would have no need, if the structure itself was within 150 feet of the property line, they would not need, their driveway counts as the emergency
Yes.
approved turnaround, okay?
Yes.
Because they can fight the fire from the road.
Yep.
Okay, that's the reason why.
So, and again, I get to where we had the WUI, we had the fire, we had all this other codes, and the intent, is, I think, is being lost. There's multiple places you can turn vehicles and apparatus around in here. There's multiple points where you can do that on Meadowlark Lane. It's not, when I read that as 150 feet, I would interpret that 150 feet is to make apparatus to be able to move and get back and forth, and I can see multiple points where you can achieve what's there. So I would say that what we would probably do is, I don't know in the ordinance if it would be a request for variance and have to go before the board, but that's probably where I would, and I don't see why it,
Okay, so previously it was taken before a previous planning commission and a variance was denied.
was it taken by the same applicants?
Yes.
I would just bring them back before us then. Because this is, the problem is you got a bunch of land up here that is,
Based upon where we're at,
we got fire.
Okay, so with this, if your suggestion is that it comes before us, then let's end this discussion because it's gonna come as an appeal
Yes,
before us.
but I don't know in our
Potentially.
ordinance if it even allows,
That timeline's probably passed.
yeah, that's why I say.
Okay.
it would be an. it would
I just
need to be
don't
in
wanna
the
get into an
application.
area where we can't have them come and appeal.
Yeah.
But it could go back through the variance process, because if it's been denied, you can reapply for the same variance after a year has passed, which it has.
Which,
So there's your course of action.
and I don't know when it was, or who denied it, or when on the board, or what their qualification, but as you go back through and, like I said, the things that we've just discussed right here, I would highly suggest it goes back, and then if it needs to come to this board, it can come to this board.
Okay, that's, I needed at least a general thought process disposition, what I could do for this particular couple to get this moved forward. Just an FYI, we also have the piece adjacent directly to the west that have applied, and they're out of, a couple out of California who bought that to basically come and retire, and they've basically put their plans on hold for the exact same reason. We've basically tried to be consistent across the board that if the road needs to be 20 feet wide based upon the definition of this ordinance, driveway, et cetera. So we basically have some developable properties that are being held, quote unquote, by strict interpretation, and
Well, I don't wanna have to deny them something
Okay.
without having them have the appeal.
Yeah,
ability,
we'll go through the process and start the process over then with Dolores and go
Yes.
that direction. Okay, that's the end of that topic.
Okay.
I need you to go to, if you would, real quick, for quick clarification, if you'd go to page 112 of your packet. That's actually the plat map, an aerial overview that shows, yeah. Just because I was going to tell you, I have to scroll back. Melissa, will you come forward, please, if you're here? Randall, are you with her? Yep. Or anybody else that's... So, the Thompsons have been through the process of trying to get this accessory structure built, and they have some unique features on their property. Real quickly, you can see where they propose a new shop, and it meets all setback requirements, etc. There is a triangle that sits with dashed lines in the upper left-hand corner. That is a piece of property that Bannock County has jurisdiction over because it is a drainage swale and pond. Okay, that is an easement for drainage. The Thompsons are asking if they can take a driveway across that easement to get out to the road to have access to their new shop.
Do you own a grader?
Do I own a grader?
Do you have a wheel line across her?
Sorry, this is bad humor right now. We have an incident with
We have,
I have access to a dozer.
We have,
This is from a previous conversation.
This is a bad inside joke. This is when people have easements and want to park things in front of it to block easements and not
we
play
have a
nice.
public easement that a person has blocked. So if we're talking about an easement that we have, and if you have any idea of putting a driveway in there and blocking us or the public out of it, no.
Well, this isn't a public easement, this is just a drainage easement, this is just for water.
And we're here just for the simple fact that the Thompsons would like to go across the existing flat section. Okay, there may be a slight depression, shall we say, further beyond where they show their driveway. They would not be driving through any low depressions, et cetera, or water would be collected. I mean, this is literally a flat, straight shot to the road. And we needed to clarify, because it states that to do anything in this easement, they have to go to Bannock County.
Yes.
Well, you're the governing
Yeah.
body, so therefore we are here.
May I?
I will share with you real quick, this has been a long, drawn-out process for the Thompsons. We're trying to do everything that we can to accommodate them, and this was the best solution for what needs to take place with their shop.
I need to ask him something.
Commissioner?
Are you gonna take all liability when it floods?
Well, we've lived there since '07.
So I'm assuming you're gonna take, I mean,
And we've seen water in that pond once, that's when it rained in January.
And we're
And
not,
the ground is frozen.
we're not-
We're not near the pond.
and you're not,
We're not
gonna alter it to where the water goes elsewhere, correct?
No.
And as long as you're,
We're gonna put a culvert in case there is a flood.
Everybody has seen Red Lodge.
Yep. As long as you guys,
That's awesome.
as long as you
Your
guys
timing.
take the liability for, you know, that whatever improvements you put in there may be underwater, and you may or may not have to pay for it, and you're going to make sure that you don't change it to where the water goes somewhere else, have a nice time.
Legal counsel, any questions, concerns?
It's,
You've been doing a lot on easements here lately.
I have been doing a lot of easements lately. It feels like, no, the county can make any conditions they want on this. So if you want to allow them to do it, you can put what conditions you feel would be appropriate or not.
I think Terrell's conditions would be appropriate, and I would support that.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that. That's, I mean, the main reason why it's there is just that we just want people not to build something on there to stop the water and make it go somewhere else and flood your house or the neighbors' houses. And then what's really funny is if somebody went in there and changed that and it flooded your house, you'd come complain to us because our water was flooding your basement. But if you, as long as you're taking care of it, we don't have any problems with that. Go forth and do great things. So,
Write it up.
Go forth and do what?
go forth and do great things. Or do great engineering, as my boss says.
Let's go ahead and make that in the form of a motion, and then we'll,
Do we have a parcel number on
Legally.
this specifically, or an address?
We have an address.
What's your address?
9824.
And Mr. Chair, I'd suggest we get something in
What's that?
writing to them, about any changes we're going to make, or commissions we're going to get, so we can track that in the future.
Yes, we will. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the request for address 9824 Peppergrass Lane to allow access across the county easement as long as they take liability for any improvements that they make and that they do not change the water, the stormwater pattern.
and who needs to write that up?
And I would ask that planning and zoning write that up, bring it back before us as soon as it's ready.
Okay, we have a motion, all in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
This was supposed to be an easy meeting.
It was easy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Go ahead. Let's go with you guys.
We'll deal with you guys.
Okay, all right, I'll start here. Jeff Underwood, Director of Facilities, coming before the board to discuss the possibility of hiring a temporary help for cleaning staff at this particular time. That would end October 1. we've looked at other possibilities of maybe talking with HR. We thought maybe of just going to a temp service, but we both under the agreement not to go to a temp service because they wouldn't end up with as much money. And then I haven't had some real good success stories with temp services with during the pandemic time when we hired some extra help at that time. And just maybe kind of have that discussion a little bit. We thought maybe, you know, if that didn't go that direction, that having the possibility of maybe doing a temporary contract with some cleaning in the FAR buildings. When any one of the full-time custodial staff is gone, I have to step in, or someone has to step in to help to get cleaned what has got to be cleaned at this present time.
Okay.
So you're just thinking this person would go till October when we looked at more of the cleaning contracts?
That's correct.
Because that's the direction you want to travel, correct?
Yeah, with this part right here.
And there's more to the problem, I guess. We
Yeah,
also-
when I set this time up to meet with you, that was the only thing that we were going to talk about. But after that meeting, another employee has decided to seek other employment in another area of the county, and so that leaves another vacancy that Dan and I have talked about and wanted to have that discussion here. We're looking at restructuring the department beginning October 1, but maybe we might need to move forward a little bit sooner for that replacement.
We just don't want to do something now that we're going to want to change in 3 months.
Right.
So it needed some creative thinking.
And it's true, it's agendized only for the discussion on temporary help there. So I would say that
We need to get in and do a dig on it.
it's time to, yes, if you identified the funds for temporary help and with your plans to move forward later, see if you
Yes.
can put somebody in that position.
Okay, those funds, beginning October 1 of this particular budget year, we had put in their budget for another full-time custodial staff. Was not able to fill it until mid-November. That individual moved on, is no longer, and we have never replaced that person. So the funding is there for, in the A budget at this time, to hire a temporary help.
So I would just say then, if you're gonna move some of
It's
that,
just a full-time line, right?
yeah, you'd have to move the line
Down
on.
to 408. So you just need to let me know how much you're gonna need to move, so that I can get the appropriate documents
Yeah,
to
they'd
the
have to make a memo.
commission.
For the temporary help, is this like a part-time temporary?
Yeah,
or is this
just
full-time
temporary, for, well, it'd be 3 months.
30 hours, right?
It'd be July, August, and September.
So you're not gonna use like a temp service, you wanna hire just a temporary seasonal employee of the county?
Right,
Okay,
at less than 30 hours a week.
Okay, so 120 a month, 30 hours a week.
Yes.
I'm okay with
For
that.
seasonal tempers, can we go
They don't
full-time over
qualify for
40?
seasonals.
No, we don't?
Nope,
Why
that's
not?
just like, because that's just like mosquito, that's like seasonal. Maintenance
This is
isn't seasonal. So that would be like mosquito or
Now, you could,
noxious weed.
you could set up
There's
a,
very specific criteria. for
you could set up a maintenance seasonal, but you would have to say, hey, it's a summer seasonal to maintain parks, this.
But they're not.
But they
doing
would,
that.
but they're not doing that. That's the problem, is it's
Okay.
inside.
They're cleaning.
Yes,
So they don't
Okay.
qualify.
All
yeah.
right.
Right.
Okay. And then with the other
I
deal,
guess you could if the buildings were open or closed. 'Cause some of our buildings are-
move forward, but come and get us on your agenda.
Okay.
Or you get on our agenda.
All right,
So if you'll get me the dollar amount
Okay.
of what you're gonna pay, and then we'll do the quick math, I'll do the budget revision.
all right.
It's only moving within A,
Yeah,
so I just have to get that memo signed by you guys to move the money, so that'll be easy. Depending on when you get me that, I should be able to kick that out within,
And then, of course, we would like to start advertising for that temporary help.
We've identified the funds, everything else.
Go,
Yeah.
do it.
Okay, all right, we'll get with HR and
Yeah.
take care of that. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Christie's just the hourly rate of a senior custodian.
All right,
We don't do benefits for these temporary.
Annie.
Just the required requirements. Or not,
Good morning, everybody.
Hello.
Annie Hughes, Bannock County Event Planning Coordinator.
Christy Davenport, Management Assistant and Tablecloth Straightener up there.
Oh, atta girl.
Is it right into Jason?
Yes.
Got you. We're here
Is that kind of
on,
like your bungee cord thing? It's similar. That one's messed up too, actually.
they're all messed up, yeah.
This one I can't see.
We're here on behalf of Scott Crowther. He has requested that we have a conversation with you gentlemen. I'm also seeking Christie's expertise with seeing if we could get employees to volunteer on the 4th of July to help for the Independence Day celebrations, somewhat like they do at the fair in August. We do understand that that is a paid holiday. And so they would need to be given an alternate day off that week, so it would have to be approved through their supervisor. But we just weren't sure if that's even an option or a conversation that we can have.
What do you mean by volunteer?
Okay, well, how
Request
does
to
it work
work
at
in
the
an
fair?
alternate, request to have job assignments in the as other assigned.
It's not voluntary.
It's
Yeah, you're not volunteering, you still get paid.
They're
You
still
can't
getting
volunteer.
paid,
Right.
they're just working for
Yeah.
that area instead of.
Right.
Yeah, just like
They
with
take
the-
another day off for the
different
holiday
day.
is what it says here.
Okay.
Would that day have to be taken during that week?
Yes.
Or that pay period?
No.
No,
Okay,
it has to be that week.
Okay.
The other part that I wonder about, because they're working a holiday, I mean, are they expected to get time and a half or just straight time?
You would need to clarify with the
That-
employee
that's-
that when they take a different day off, they would not be getting overtime.
Your hour for hour.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, I just wanted to make that was sure so that,
Yeah.
Well-
And they would all be doing this voluntarily, right? Not voluntarily. But
We wouldn't
no
be-
one, but they're
yeah.
not being required.
They wouldn't be told they have to do
How
that.
You
many,
can't require them, but.
how many people do you need?
So right now, we have a gentleman that's offering to have some volunteers come, but he's not actually given us a number.
We did let
Maybe.
him know how many we needed. This would be specifically for the beach party.
But we need them at other areas, like up at the top, cleaning up garbages and helping 20, if we could get 20 people. 50, I don't know, how many do you think you were,
well, I think it's one of them deals that
do you think that's too
you
many?
put it out there, if people volunteer to do it,
You think
Well, I was
that's
gonna-
and their
too many?
supervisor's good,
I was gonna cap it, just so you didn't get, hey, you only needed 10 people or 20 people, and you got 75 that wanna go up there and hang out, there's nothing really to do up there.
Right.
And if they're hourly, they have to be clocked in.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so the other thing is because I know we have, the biggest problem that we have up there in the last couple of years is we haven't actually had enough volunteer stuff for the volunteer groups that volunteer
To do.
to do. And so the big thing is that, and a lot of the volunteers, while I love having volunteers, I really don't want to make them have to be the ones that go clean up all the garbage and all the other stuff and all the, I mean, they help change cans and they do that, but if you're asking for grounds and all that other stuff, I get it. But that's where some of your volunteers, they're, the different ages and what's going on, I get that too. A lot of them,
I honestly think we need no more than 10. And I think that they would be doing a lot of running. So running around the complex, delivering, transferring, helping, vendors and people and such.
I'd say you'd probably put a limit of 20
yeah.
and put the times you want them, so that they get
Right.
their 8
I would have a
hours,
sign-up
either
sheet.
here, or here. The first 10, 20 people that sign up can do it.
I mean, because I'm okay with, this is a huge celebration and it's a ton of work up there. I think all of us have worked up there.
I'd rather have more than less.
Yeah.
And if somebody gets a little bit of a break, thanks for being there on the holiday.
Yep. And I get a little nervous too, having volunteers. Sometimes we've had volunteers in the past that, hey, help go run this down. Yeah, just go take a gator. And if we actually had them sign the form and all the other stuff, and I would prefer if we have employees on some of that stuff because of the people on the field and the liability, that makes me super nervous. You know. So yeah, I'm okay with that.
Supervisors have to approve.
Yes.
Supervisors
And then
have
when you
to,
get that list, if you'll let us know who it is, we can make sure they do their timesheet right, because you know how that goes.
yeah.
The situation with the timesheet, just to clarify, they're not actually coming to the courthouse that day, so they would do it the next day or whatever.
That's fine.
And then I was just thinking now, as I'm talking through it, if you do an 8-hour shift, I mean, we're going to be there for 10 and a half hours.
So
Could
that's
we-
why you have
could we
20 volunteers. You
Stagger
set
it,
your-
like 5 and 5 or something.
Your
like that.
hours,
Okay.
no, you
Okay.
do 8 and 8.
8 and 8.
So they, or what, whatever they,
Because you'll have some overlap probably in
Yeah.
busier times.
Okay.
so.
Just having not done this before, it's helpful to talk.
So
Yeah.
if your busiest time is noon, that's easy, because you start them in the
Right.
morning and start them at noon.
Mhm.
But then if your busier time is maybe late, have a few in the morning and then
Yeah.
more later. I don't know.
And
however you
actually,
need it.
honestly, it wouldn't be bad to have them a little earlier than noon, to help
Help
vendors
set
and
up.
stuff like that. Yeah,
Just
okay.
however you
We'll
need to
figure that
juggle
out.
it.
Okay.
But if you'll let us know who's working when, so like the sign-up sheet, just give that to payroll.
And then the department,
And
obviously.
then-
And we're not giving lunches.
Oh,
They
no.
do that down at the fair.
No.
They do, no, you're
They can-
coming to
Yeah.
help.
It'd be just like work. You don't give us a free lunch when we come here.
Yep,
So.
yep. And
What
and
kind
just,
of barbarians are we?
Did the economist Adam Smith say there's no such thing as a free lunch?
All right, we're good. I'm good.
For your staff,
I'm done.
you guys are kind of different because you work up there. If they can, yeah, that would be great.
if they work it, they get time and a half.
Yeah, yeah, your staff is different. Okay. Yeah. This is just different because we don't want, so like if somebody from my office goes and works up there, I shouldn't be charged comp time or the overtime for something that they didn't benefit my office for. Yeah, so it doesn't create a hardship.
This is de minimis.
Yes, this is de minimis, so that's how they agree with de minimis. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
And then the other thing that we have here, that was just below that, is signature on temporary authorization for Annie to sign things up there.
Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize signature on the memo as presented.
Other than I can see my corner.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thanks, you guys.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Yep.
So are you here to be with Wes?
The burn ban. You get the burn ban.
I just emailed him to say he's on his way.
Okay.
Well, you can come up and present it too.
The other 3 items.
We got 3 other?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're there, where are we
We
at?
got Jason, we got Christine, we got Ryan.
I was
I
ready to-
just waited on them because of everybody.
Mine done in under 10 minutes.
Michelle likes hanging out.
We'll have you sit
How
here for a
long?
minute.
How long you need?
Depends on your question.
Theirs would be pretty fast, I think.
Okay, come on up.
You've already.
Stay right there. Stay right there.
You've
We're not
already
gonna make
seen
you
it,
move.
so.
Just
Michelle, you can come over here.
Michelle, come on up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you. We're just not gonna make him move.
Then I got a deal today, said we got an acceptance on Just Grants.
Wes is there.
Ah.
Do this first?
Yeah,
Still
let's
sit
see.
down.
Get out.
Go ahead, have a seat there, Christie, for a minute.
Musical chairs.
All right.
Should I stay or should I?
Let's go with you. Wes,
Morning.
good morning.
What you have in front of there is the burn ban, countywide burn ban. Normally, the fire districts have been doing their own up until last year.
We
The countywide burn.
we did a countywide one in 20. I think there was one in 2018. It was really bad countywide. It's we did one, and that was the only year that we've done one.
We done one last
We
year.
did one last
It
year.
did last year too. Yeah.
Well, my only question on this was, it says nothing about fireworks, which I thought we should say something about fireworks, especially with the season. And then I hate to put a a burn ban on July 1st, and then we as a county on July 4th have our fireworks show. It just didn't look good to me. That's why I says, I want to talk about this.
Did you give him the revised one?
Did you get a copy of the updated one?
Which one is
I
that?
don't think so.
Only non-aerial fireworks are allowed in wildlife areas.
Yeah. So wildlife areas, so like our fireworks show is not considered a wildlife area. It's an urban environment. But like, you go up Buckskin Canyon, you're not shooting aerials, you're not doing any ground fireworks, you're not doing anything up
You
there.
shouldn't do no fireworks.
Yes, there should be nothing up there.
Correct.
Well, all aerial fireworks are banned.
Yeah, under the state of
Yes,
Idaho
should not
anyway.
leave the ground.
So, not all. but
Okay,
if
fun
they go
sucker.
above-
I mean,
I think it's, if they stay within, what is
Okay,
it?
yeah,
6 or 8
this is
inches.
different from the first one that I
Yes,
read.
we updated
And
it.
that's, so you've answered the questions that I had. I just,
yeah.
we don't mention it, and then we're gonna go shoot off fireworks in 4 days after we put it in.
Yeah, well, no, and I think having it when it's not in the wildland, that's also something that we just,
Yeah, so what Kim did, because Kim and Nick Christensen at Pocatello Fire helped write this.
Yeah.
And so they put the citation in there for the professional fireworks displays.
yeah.
Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah.
Compared to the
And I
one.
think with July 1st, I was talking with Nick, he was wishing he could be here, but he had a prior commitment. Looking at the fuel moisture, it looks pretty good still, and so I guess we can reevaluate that if you don't want to do July 1st, but he felt pretty comfortable at least pushing it out till July 1st from driving some of the WUI areas.
Yeah, no, I think the July 1st, I hate to say it, but we get people that don't use common sense when igniting pyrotechnics, and we have a tendency to have things catch on fire.
There's lots of fuel growing.
It is, and this year is going to scare me. Well, we had the guy a couple years ago up on Center Street burn the houses down with the.
On Bitterroot?
Yep. I mean, that's why I say there's areas that we just, yeah, it's dry. It's going to get dry enough out there. The weather's going to change here, and it's going to be 100 degrees next week, and we're going to have lighted up season.
And then just one question, since this is coming from us and we don't have anything from all the fire districts yet, does this supersede all that so they won't need to do that? This will take care of that?
Correct.
Yeah, we sent it out to all of them, and so we got Ken Fagnant, Johnny Kettner. Is that
We've
the-
got buy-in from all the fire districts.
Okay, all right, I just didn't want to make sure there was going to be a rogue one go, no, we're not going to do that.
And we're totally open. I don't know if Wes has heard anything to put another quote in there, either from the commission, we've asked the fire districts, but they haven't responded with any quote. Because we would love to have more quotes in there, because right now we have one from Nick, that I wrote one for him. But if somebody else wants to put something in there, we can totally add that too. So that-
I don't think we need a quote, but just our signatures, a signature line on this.
We'll get it on a formal memo.
Is what it needs to.
Yeah, and then once you get the resolution, and then I'll send that back out to the fire districts and their commissioners, so they're happy.
Okay.
I would just say we just have it drawn up for Tuesday.
Draw it up and we'll sign the resolution.
We'll have the formal one on Tuesday.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Chris Foster, having comptroller. Your name?
Oh, Michelle Shropshire, grant coordinator.
We just wanted to bring the grant menu back for you to see if you had a chance to review it, had any questions. Are we good to go to adopt it?
I think you're fine.
I think so.
I know.
I could tell you that I enjoyed it the other day, the paperwork before the grant we talked about with the coroner and stuff. I think that it answers a lot of questions right off.
And we had one to go through with that, right? Or that's the grant one you're talking
The
about?
grant one.
Yeah. Any feedback on that, how that went?
We're gonna test out, I've got a meeting with Wes on Monday. I'm also gonna have him kind of look at this to run through, to try to fine tune some of our Homeland Security processes.
Okay, that would be good.
I think
Nancy
Tori thought it was, I mean, he grumbled a little because it was more paperwork, but when we explained to him why, he's like, oh, okay, and he was all good with it.
He did fill out the extra pages that we would sign on, so Nancy went back in, made some adjustments, but this is for us to fill out, so it's updated.
So when we get it,
So that way they can't fill out parts that they.
No, I thank you very much for your work there, and I
think that,
And there's only one part, so the grant manual is really about our procedures, but at the very back, on page,
Subrecipient? Is that what you're going with?
no, we I don't know where I'm going. Currently in the policy, it was like, I don't know, 7 lines. And so I don't know if we need to do a resolution to adopt the policy or.
Well, I think to make this effective, do we usually do resolutions?
You would normally do a resolution adopting the entire policy, and you'd reference the policy by date and manual of what, and you're going to make that publication date of the official manual will match your resolution.
And then when I go in and redo our accounting policy, I'll just put, because this is now a separate policy. Before, I think, is that what you were talking about?
Yes.
There was like 7 lines in our accounting policy. We didn't have that many grants last time we updated that policy, which that's in me now. So now we'll just have 2 instead of 1.
I got a notification this morning when I looked in there that we, Just Grants, we got accepted for something. I haven't looked at it
I
yet.
haven't looked at it yet either.
I haven't gone into it.
So, but if you're good with this, I'll get with Amy, ask her to do a resolution for Tuesday.
Okay. Yep.
We're good.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Good work. Anything else?
Yeah, Christie got something else.
Oh, that was just, Michelle said that was just to discuss it.
If you guys had any updates or anything we needed to change,
Nope.
clarifications.
I think, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Ryan?
Okay. This is my monthly Human Resources Department update. Just go through a couple things that we're working on right now. Currently in Tyler, we have 10 full-time positions posted and 2 part-time positions. And those postings are producing a slow trickle of applicants. It's just kind of how it was the last several months, right? We're slowly hiring, you know, one's yours. Yeah, some are slower than others. We are trying to help get some more applicants. We've worked with Emma to do some advertising on Facebook. We sent an email out asking employees to interact with our LinkedIn site, and you know, because of the way those algorithms work, it will show up more if more people interact with that. So we did get our first Facebook. We're tracking how people are finding out about the jobs by questions on the applications, and we got our first Facebook applicant, or someone that said they heard about the job through Facebook. So it's slow, but we're pounding on it. We're working on it. The sheriff is going to do a law enforcement job fair in a couple weeks, and we're going to have Josh there helping him out. And it's just what we're doing. As far as we're also tracking kind of cases that we're dealing with, and I identify some as incidents, and those are typically like accidents or near misses. And we've had since May 9 incidences that we had to do workers' comp claims on, or work with workers' comp. We've had, so 5 of them had workers' comp, 3 had to do with property, and 1 was just an accident that didn't require any medical attention. So we've been dealing with those. Been dealing with helping people with, we had in the last month 5 policy violations. 2 ended up where we had to dismiss the employees for it. 2 were written reprimands, and 1 was just kind of informal. So that was just the last 6 weeks. And then we had 1 ADA that we handled this last month. So in addition to that, the reactive stuff that we're dealing with, we're trying to be proactive. We met with our safety committee this month and with the HR roundtable this month. And projects I'm working on is I'm redoing the Bannock County personnel policy, and actually just this morning I was hoping to send out an email. I've combined in our personnel policy our vehicle use, our safety, our drug, so it's all just one big policy instead of like 5 of them hanging out. And my idea is I'm going to send a draft to Josh, Brian, Christy, and a couple others to take a look at for a period of time. And then once I get some feedback from them, I'll send it to the elected officials to get some feedback from and their chief deputies, and then hopefully make it effective October 1. And so you'll be seeing that after this first group sees it. So another project on the same line is the procedures, combining them all into one big SOP handbook and adding a few procedures to that and follow a similar process. Working on, for compensation, writing those job families, and I would like to have some, for lack of a better term, I'd say task force teams helping me with, like, for example, the IT job family. I'm going to work with Adam to kind of finalize what's the difference between a level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that family. And with the admin generalist, it'd take quite a few more across departments to help identify, not specifically what they're getting paid, but what makes a difference between the different levels in the family. So I'm going to try to get those going 1 or 2 families at a time.
How big do you want that task force?
I have 16 or 18 families, and so I want 16 or 18 little mini task groups to work on them. Mm-hmm. And so I was going to do like 2 or 3 at a time. That's kind of the idea. And so each one would be, I'm thinking, no more than 5 people on those groups. Probably most would be less.
Okay.
Like that. Okay. And then one more thing is we're monthly doing a 30-minute supervisor training. Last month we did one on, appropriate time reporting and the FLSA applications. This month we did one on incident reporting. And then in July we're going to do one on employee evaluation. So and then last but not least is I'm trying to develop a safety program and working hand in hand with the court marshals and others to kind of put elements together, following OSHA recommendations. And a lot of it we already do, but it's just organizing it into a safety program. And so we have one place to look, and when state insurance fund comes and asks if we have one we can pull up, and it's in writing.
And the only thing I would say is it's okay to use the court marshals, but we're talking about more than just the courthouse. Sure. If we're doing a safety program, it's got to include the event center. It's got to include all the different departments. So I wouldn't make it so inclusive that all it's talking about is courthouse.
Okay. Yeah. And I was planning on making it countywide.
Okay.
But I'm using their help because they're really interested in helping.
Well, yeah. We've had some of them conversations. And it's kind of like visiting with the judges sometimes.
Oh, okay. So and there's going to be several elements, and they'd be really involved in certain elements of it. Well, there's other elements like incident reporting that, me and Josh.
Well, and that's why I say it's more than just right here.
Yes. So those are the projects that I'm working on mainly, and kind of where we're at.
Okay, any questions?
No, I'm good.
I like to hear the projects, so.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Jason.
All right, we'll do number 2 first, the easy one. I just wanted to make sure that you were made aware, the property that we purchased, what was that? How long ago was that? 2 years ago, back behind the jail? There's a home, a single-family home that's back there, and the man that now owns that home, he still has the right, that prescriptive easement transfers, so he has access on Darby Road up there. He is storing all kinds of stuff there on that property, as if the easement allowed that. It is an ingress and egress easement.
It's not, yeah.
So
he's storing on the easement?
He's storing on the easement and our property.
Nope.
So that's the first part of it. And Mike Jaglowski already has told him to move his stuff. But then the second problem is this, all this stuff.
That's the stuff?
Yeah, this is all his stuff. So the second part of this is, and this is a new owner, apparently. I think that the commission needs to send him a letter to let him know before he puts any money into this idea of his. He wants to build storage units back here, I've been told. And the prescriptive easement that he has is only for a single-family dwelling. So that's something that I would have, Braden and Brian work together to have
Another easement.
to send him a letter, just so that he doesn't put any money out. I think that Mike has already talked with him about that. I don't know how forceful he was with it. I haven't talked to the guy, but I would just hate for him to get any sort of architectural plans going or bids going for something that we're not going to allow. Because we're not going to allow storage units back behind the jail.
No. So this is a public right-of-way easement?
This is a single-family dwelling prescriptive easement.
Yeah, when we bought the ground, it only allowed access to the one house. That was part of us purchasing the ground from the landowner that owned the house at the time. So that easement is in place. It cannot be removed. There is no, you don't get to, and you don't get to store stuff on our property. You got stuff on our property, you have 24 hours to remove it or we'll have it towed.
Yeah. So
you're trespassing. That's what's happening. You are trespassing on private property.
And apparently he's a really nice guy. Mike says he's talked to him a couple of times, and he's a nice guy, but I would hate to have him put any money out, so.
Does he even realize?
He kind of does realize,
He
but
knows.
he needs a little firmer hand, I think. A letter from the commissioner's
we
office.
should probably go out there and tell you the truth.
Jim's been issuing a lot of letters to people.
This road right here, we really need to go out there with some green T-posts and some no trespassing signs, and it needs to be posted, no trespassing. And then paint the tops of the signs orange, because then it's posted, because then it's not just a, hey, get your stuff off of, it's a $300 fine for trespassing in closed ground.
Sure.
That's
not a bad idea at all.
We want that closed because it's a security issue to the jail and then other things of why we have that. That's not open for public.
Right.
Okay.
So
You'll work on that,
Yep.
okay.
both of you. Thank you.
What else do we need?
The next one is we need to go into a pretty sensitive executive session regarding personnel, and I'm going to ask all staff except for Carrie and these guys to leave for this one.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we enter into executive session under Idaho Code 74206 to discuss matters of personnel.
Thanks, Christine.
Prims 1 and B, or A and B.
Commissioner Moser?
Yes.
Commissioner Tubby?
Yes.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.